The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, hi everybody. It's exactly 9 o'clock GMT. Welcome to everyone. We're going to have our Moria Federation launching meditation. We have it once a year. We have 25 attendees and some faculty with us. So probably 28 of us all together right now, maybe 25. And I'll welcome you all when we're finished, because some people might come on during the process. Here you see in front of you the Moria Federation logo. And some people have said, well, you know, what does this all mean? This was designed by my wife, Tuya. She and I consulted about this, and she put it together with her artistic skills. I said, well, you know, I think really it's important to interpret this yourself. You know, it's rich with symbolism. And I think somewhere along the line I wrote a little piece on the meaning, but many of you who are familiar with the Agni Yoga teaching will recognize the banner of peace in the center of the image. We have what Rorik says about it is that the color red represents the one blood of humanity, which is always the same. The three circles are, the upper circle here is spirituality, and this is art, and this is science, SAS, spirituality, art, and science. We've inserted the indigo disc that we use so much in our meditation practice. You know, when we try to go into the consciousness of Master DK, it's also the cave in the head. It's the way into the subtle worlds, but from another perspective, it represents the blue logos, who is the heart of the entire solar system. So it's all taking place within the love, wisdom, energy of the blue logos, who has the second ray soul, second ray personality, and probably when it's all finished, it will be established as the second ray monad as well, even though it may be a fourth ray monad at this time. The red circle represents culture, and according to Rorik, the 14 stars in this emblem represent, as you might guess, the 14 schools, the 7 preparatory schools and the 7 advanced schools. None of them really existing with us yet, but all to come. The six-pointed star is the emblem of the monad, and it is actually the seal of King Solomon, who was an earlier incarnation of Master Moria. We understand it. Also Moses, an earlier incarnation. And when Akbar, an earlier incarnation, Akbar the Great of India, was the emperor, this was his symbol, King Solomon's seal. So he seems to have preserved it over a number of years, and we realize that it represents the unions of the higher and lower triad, and also simply the monadic plane, whereon the 7 fundamental forms, the most abstract forms, the sound forms, exist, each with its own ray. So, of course, in the primary triangle, the first, second, and third rays, represented by red, the indigo, and green, and then the fourth, fifth, and sixth rays, represented by the yellow for the fourth ray and the orange for the fifth, and light blue, could be light blue, could be rose, for the sixth ray. And if you look carefully, in the center there is a hexagon which is violet in color, and it's behind the disk, but it is showing at certain places. So you can see this. Now, so there's a very shambolic content to this whole thing, because we realize in a way Shambhala is a reflection of the solar logos, of the central spiritual sun, and of the heart of the sun. For us, Shambhala is a second subplane manifestation involving the first ray and the second, and so it is in the relationship between the solar logos and Shambhala, the first ray and the second. Even though the solar logos is the second ray being, he is so preeminent in this entire system that we have to consider solar fire as preeminent over electric fire, and it occupies a dominating position. Well, there are rays coming out from the center, and you'll notice that there are 24 rays and 24 stars, and these are the potencies of Shambhala, whose number is 24. We see on the top of the six-pointed star the influence of the star Sirius, a predominantly Buddhic influence, the source of the solar angels. So there are many factors brought together here which touch society, civilization, culture, and yet which are embedded in a cosmic symbolism, with the emergence of the 14 schools because of the one fundamental school of occultism in Shambhala, and we will look at that as a six-pointed star. Interestingly enough, there are 6 masters given as involved in the new education movement, the new esoteric schools movement, both in this subrace and in the coming subrace. And these are 3 of the masters with whom we are familiar, Master Moria, Master Kuthumi, and Master DK, sort of representing the first, second, and third ray. And then we have also an English master, probably on the second ray here. We have Master Hilarion, and we have as well Master Rakosi. So we can visualize them standing at the points of the six-pointed star. Doesn't exactly correlate with the colors here, but we can visualize them that way. And the Christ in the very center, receiving an input, a downflow from Sanat Kumara, who is the head of the entire process. So that gives you a little idea of what our thought has been, and maybe others will see more in it. It's a very rich symbol, and I think very beautiful in its way, and probably some of you have been puzzling over it. What in the world does it mean? But this gives some idea of what our thoughts have been. It is a shambolic, monadic symbol. Even the monad we know is threefold: will, wisdom, and activity. And we are interested in the effect that this monadic illumination has as the will to illumine flows into the consciousness of the hierarchy and all associated workers, and we spread this light through our second ray hierarchical efforts, but basically it comes from the unfettered enlightenment of Shambhala. That gives us an idea. Okay, friends, well, I'm very happy that you've gathered with us today. We have about 30 working with us, and people, no, maybe 34 actually. People come in and go out, but let us concentrate now. I'm recording this for you. I discovered what happened with my audio recording yesterday, and I hope to make this better. And there will also be a little video recording as well. I'll try to get that up for you as soon as possible. And now we will go into our meditation with those ideas in mind. And so in this meditation, we are doing what we can imaginatively to become inspired by the one fundamental school. We know we can't really touch Shambhala yet, even in group form, but there are lines of impulse and influence which we can receive. This is a very potent time. We've had the full moon in Sagittarius directing us, I believe, ultimately towards the monad and far distant objectives. And shortly thereafter, after that eclipse, which really I think is meant to create the sense of final direction for those who have been vacillating about what their direction might be. Following that sense of group mobilization in the right direction comes the solstice itself, which will be at approximately 1:38 and a bit more, maybe 27 seconds, something. So shortly after we finish this meditation, you will be into the opportunity to actually meditate upon the coming in of the Capricorn energy, the energy which is so important to us in the Moria Federation, basically Capricorn and Aries organization. And when you do your solstice meditation, do remember the Federation and its alignments, and bring in the Capricorn energy, which is very grounding and manifesting. So let us relax and individually and have a sense of alert poise. As we identify the vehicles we are using, the etheric physical, the astral sentient body, the lower mind, and gradually withdraw from them. Seeing them objectively, but realizing that in a sense we are not these vehicles, but we are in fact the soul in incarnation. And that soul, that point of being consciousness, which is usually presented with the contents of consciousness, which include the body, emotions, and mind, that soul can intensify its perception and find itself instead upon the higher mental plane, its true plane, and the personality then will fade out as the higher world of light, of spiritual love, of spiritual will fades in and becomes the contents of consciousness. And so we recognize ourselves as the soul. as if on the higher mental plane, in the presence of all our accumulated virtues and qualities, but feeling the spiritual light and love and will that connects us all, that goes beyond our apparent ring past knot. And we begin to find ourselves merging into a deep sense of the group soul. And we use the heart and the heart in the head to stimulate this realization. First, the group soul sense as it applies to those of us who are meditating all over the world, and within the Moria Federation, but extending farther to include the many spiritual individuals as souls, the members of the new group of world servers included, all of us together in soul. The men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world, numbering in their millions, and finally extending until we get the sense of the one soul of humanity, wherever there is a human being, whether in the body or out of the body, asleep or awake, alive or dead, there is that one consciousness which sees through all the apparently individual consciousnesses, the one soul of humanity. We dwell within that one soul, imaginatively, within that one soul, the one being, humanity, a being, informing a kingdom of nature, and we know, the group knows, there are no other selves. There is no my soul or thy soul. There is only the soul. And in the second ray formula, we hear the words reverberating through the silence as it is said, naught is but me. Naught is but me. And this touches the heart. This touches the heart within the head. And this relates to the egoic field of unity and diversity. We are all united with each other on the egoic plane. We have our qualities, but we have our one identity. And from this position, imagined on the higher mental plane, we open to the wisdom of the higher worlds, still higher worlds, the spiritual triad, and we act as if it is possible to receive impression from these worlds. It's as if the rainbow bridge, colored largely in indigo on a group basis, but with all the many different colors of the rainbow, in cone-like formation, rises into the spiritual triad, touching symbolically a blue-white diamond of spirit. And we are invoking together the group invocative field of spiritual intelligence, spiritual wisdom and love, spiritual will, and that sense of being. We are invoking together. We are open to the higher spiritual energies, the trans-individual energies, the impersonal energies, focused in the mind, the heart, and will of God, the planetary Logos. We are one united invocative field. And within this field, it is as if we recognize the presence of the Great White Brotherhood, the Lodge of Masters, the spiritual hierarchy, the society of organized and illumined minds. This is their focus. And as we rise into this field and remain open to its impression, we would naturally encounter their presence not as personalities, but as energy centers. They are here with us in this non-local field. There is no space here, and a degree of timelessness exists, and they are presences within the presence, as are we. And so, since we intend to work on their behalf in service of humanity, we offer our solidarity to them, our salutations, as the Tibetan created this form in a number of his meditations. And we will offer our salutations following the Om. And first, then, with heartfelt gratitude, we offer our salutations to the Christ, the head of the spiritual hierarchy, the teacher alike of angels and of men, the coming one, the rider on the white horse, the Kalki avatar, the Lord Maitreya, the Hierophant, the one who knows the heart of each true spiritual seeker. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Moria, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, whose ashram is responsible for the preparation for the reappearance of the Christ. Salutations to the Master Jual Kul, our closest teacher, who trains aspirants and disciples for initiation. And let each of us offer salutations to our own Master as we conceive him to be, whether one of the three or other. Salutations to your own Master, as you know or conceive him to be. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet, with whom we seek to cooperate. And in attunement with these hierarchical energies, we imaginatively raise our thought to Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known, and with deepest reverence and in all humility we attempt, identified as a group soul, to attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala, and considering him as the head of the one fundamental school of occultism in Shambhala, and the fount of inspiration as we seek to bring a little of the greatest light into the lighted magnetic aura of the group, and from thence direct it into the consciousness of humanity. And on the sound of the silent Om, we visualize the unfettered enlightenment of the one fundamental school of occultism in Shambhala, pouring forth as a stream of bluish-white light, realizing that it carries with it the will to illumine, unfettered enlightenment from the center of the school, the will to illumine pouring forth from the one school and coming as if to focus within the Christ as the head of the spiritual hierarchy. We visualize this as a group. The reality of the unfettered enlightenment pouring down into the hierarchy, focusing within the Christ. And we visualize the Christ as if standing in the center of a six-pointed indigo star, the representation of the monad. He is as the seventh point in the center of the indigo star, on the points of which we visualize standing the six masters concerned with the esoteric educational movement in this root race and in the coming sub-race and root race. The Master Moria at the apex, the Master Kuthumi to the left, the Master DK to the right, the English Master below the Master Kuthumi, Master Hilarion below the Master DK, and the Master Rakasi, the Mahachohan, at the bottommost point opposite the Master Moria. We pause to realize the energy combination here and the impact of this group of illumined beings who will bring the light of the one fundamental school from the Christ and outward to those who must receive. This is a real group. inestimable power and love and light. And their work will cover thousands of years. And we as if stand within the presence of this downflow. And we breathe it in as a group. Faculty and students, we breathe it in. And we don't forget it. We remember who we work for and why. And on the sound of a silent Om, we will imagine, we will visualize the shambolic light sent to the Christ, then sent forth by him and entering these masters and creating a great radiation, the internal silent Om. And on the sound of a silent Om, we visualize this shambolic light animating the next circle, which are the faculty members, as if facing outward in a circle around the star, so that the light, the power pours through their chakric system, their hands upraised in blessings. They have received, they have rotated upon a pedestal of light, they have faced outward. The silent Om and on another silent Om, the student body, a wider circle, facing the faculty members, receives this light from Shambhala, from the Christ, from the Masters, assisted by the faculty, receiving the light, hands upraised, and revolving upon a pedestal of light, and turning outward in a wider circle, facing humanity, the silent Om. And we all visualize the light pouring forth, this will to illumine from Shambhala, this unfettered enlightenment, reaching out to illumine all who may be drawn towards the greater light. All men and women of goodwill, all those who can be educated in the newer ways, the radiant light pours forth from the center, from the Christ, through the six, through the faculty group, through the student group, and on and out, raising the knowledge, the consciousness, the perception of humanity. And we will now use a voiced Om to see this light reaching the farthest possible point of receptivity, bringing illumination to all who may be illumined. And we pause for reflection as a group, as if the entire Moria Federation is one group, which essentially it is. In the midst of these vividly flowing energies, we ponder our individual responsibility to receive, assimilate, and spread the light, the love and the power of the ageless wisdom to all who may constructively receive it. Our individual responsibility, we ponder. And we ponder on our group responsibility, which is something more. All of us as one being, one soul, one will, one instrument of the ashram, ideally. Our group responsibility as faculty and students in one Moria Federation, what is it? Our solidarity with each other, our love of each other, allowing the true unification which will make us into the instrument we must become, our knowledge our love wisdom, our will together as one being. Can we rise to that? Unseparated, geography making no difference, soul to soul, in the one soul, a true instrument for the great ones in their mission to bring the unfettered enlightenment carefully, gradually, rightly to humanity. And let us ponder on the good that this can accomplish, and the contribution of this supernal light, the light of coming Capricorn, to the redemption of humanity and the planet. How will this light that we spread, under the impress of our superiors, how will it improve the lot of humanity? And as it is said in the scripture from the Messiah, the people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. And that is our responsibility, in whatever measure we can, to be conduits for the greatest light, the unfettered enlightenment from the one fundamental school, to carry the light, to distribute the light. That is our group mission. In full soul alignment, we affirm our will to fulfill our responsibility in this divine circulatory flow of light, love, and power. Our group will to do so. Which will strengthen all the individual wills, and we will not falter. We will not fall away. We will not give in to the obvious, the conventional, and all that pulls people down because it is apparently normal. Our group will be so strong that we will not deviate. And in the flow of these energies, from the one fundamental school through the Most High, through the great Lord, the Christ, through the Masters, Moria, Kutumi, Chwalkul, the English Master, the Master Hilarion, the Master Rakotsi, and through all of us in the Moria Federation, and through those whose lives we are privileged to touch, carrying our little portion of the great light. In these energies, we sound together the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the Masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, friends, for joining in this third inaugural meditation, inaugurating our third year together, always more and more together, and always more integrated, and more in the spirit of love and wisdom and unity, and therefore power, and therefore intelligence. I want to acknowledge those who are with us from all over, and we are all forming one group, faculty, students. It makes no difference. We're all in service of the light. Every esotericist is self-taught. We know that. And if we dialogue with other people and gain the benefit of their experience and they of ours, well, that's the way it is to be under this Gemini influence of Master DK, that powerful Gemini force, and now directing that force in the opposite sign, Sagittarius, towards an objective which perhaps we didn't think we could achieve, but which we can, in fact, achieve. So welcome Andrew and from Australia, and Anu from Estonia, and BL from the United States, and Birgit from Denmark, and Brett from California, and Bree, you're here too, and goodness, welcome. Okay. United States, I believe. Catherine from Denmark, Daniel from Australia, Dorothy from San Diego, Dorothy Caldwell, Dorothy Roeder from Phoenix, Elena from Slovakia, Francis from Santa Fe, New Mexico, Frida, I'm not sure if it's Canada or the northern U.S., but welcome, Frida. And Heidi from Norway, and Inta from Latvia, and Jeremy from England, and Jette from Denmark, and Joe from Minneapolis, and Justin also from the United States. I have to check your city. Lorraine, United States, I'll be checking the city. Louise from Sydney, Australia. Luis from Mexico City. Marianne from Copenhagen area. Maribel from Colorado. Miria from Helsinki area. Nicholas from Greece. Olivia, I think it's New Zealand. Peg from Ann Arbor. Premanjali, you are in Singapore. Long way, welcome. Riza from the United States. Santara, also the United States. Sheila, the United States. I'll get my cities correct. Welcome, Sheila. Teresa, also, I believe, the United States. Tiu, Estonia. Vadna from San Miguel, Mexico. Vern from California, welcome. Walter from Seattle, welcome everybody. And our staff, Eva from Toronto, and Leonie from Brisbane, and Sam from Portland, welcome everybody. Well, thank you. Powerful meditation. You really feel what it can be if we really learn to work together under the impression of these supernal energies. I will get some recording of this up as soon as I can for those who weren't able to make it, and I'm very grateful that you come, joined us all together. Now, you stay tuned for the for the solstice, which is at well, I know it's something like 11:38, and let's see if I get my quick solar fire program up here on this exceptionally slow computer at this moment, and it's not going. Okay, it did behave, and let's see when the solstice actually is. Return and ingress, and it's ingress, and it's Capricorn, and it's, yes, it is 1:38 and 28 seconds, so therefore 11:38 p.m. and 28 seconds, which is London time. So stay awake or hang in there somehow, and we will see you all. Our school starts now. The campus is open. You should be able to see most every course that's available to you. And we begin our work individually and together. And let us do a good job this year and come closer and closer together so we can present to the hierarchy that instrument that it can use. Like Mary Bailey used to say, when she called me into the office for that first interview, she said the thing that she and Foster Bailey said to the master was, at least let me be useful. So let us as a group be useful. Okay, happy coming Capricorn, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye, everybody.